Right, so it's February now. I think it's the 2nd or 3rd today. So it is the Tuesday. I got down on the Sunday in the dark, put my rods out in a new swim. I've not fished this swim for quite a while, not since the summer. But in a new area, this is basically the last place I saw fish, because last week I blanked, I did 2 nights, I didn't catch anything. The week before that I did another 2 nights and I blanked that week as well. So I was catching around the new year, that sort of time, and Christmas. But since sort of early part of January now, I haven't caught anything and I haven't seen a single fish. So I've gone in here, which is the last area I did see a carp. I saw a couple here, to be fair, but these are the last sightings I had. So I've come in here, I've done another couple of nights this week and I've not caught nothing. So it's been my 3rd week where I've blanked a 2-night session basically. So it's looking pretty poor at the minute. The water's absolutely freezing. We've had lovely weather, it's been like 13 degrees, southerly winds. No, it's looked pucker, but where the water's deep, and the water is really cold, I just don't think the wind and the weather is actually making much difference, to be quite honest. So I've always found on here the weather can play a big part in what they're doing, but it's dead. I'm not seeing anything. I was going to do a 3rd night tonight, but I've got to go home and get my dog. So yeah, he needs babysitting. I can't have him stay down here with me all night, so I'm probably going to pack up. I might go somewhere else for the day, go home with the dog, and I don't know if I'll come back tonight, to be honest. I might do. Depends what time the missus gets home, but it's looking pretty bleak at the minute. It's really boring, it's dark all the time, it's windy all the time, and I'm not seeing anything. It just doesn't feel good. It feels dead, it feels totally lifeless. And historically, after the floods, you know, it flooded in January, whenever it floods on it seems to die. You know, last autumn it flooded, and I think it was about 8 or 9 weeks. It only did 1 fish, so you know, I'm all for a bit of a tough ride, but I don't want to be wasting time when I could be catching fish sort of elsewhere. So I'll stick it out, but for today I think I might go somewhere else. I'm going to pack my gear down, sit in the car with the rods out, make a decision, and either go home or go fishing somewhere else for the daytime. But as of yet, I'm not quite sure. Right, well the sun's come out now, it's a nice bright day, so I'm going to reel my rods in, and I think the chance of a bite is pretty much gone for now. Could have one now I suppose, but yeah, I'm going to reel the rods in, go and have a look around, climb a few trees, look in the bushes, hopefully find something. I've not seen anything in the bushes for ages, I have been looking, but the water's slowly clearing up after the floods now, so I'm going to go have another look, climb a few trees. If I don't see anything here, I'm probably going to go and fish somewhere else. I'm not too sure yet, so first things first, I'm going to go and have a lap and hopefully find something here to fish for, so we shall see. Right, so I changed lakes at the end of my last session. I went to a lake just around the corner. We blanked the day, only did a few hours, probably did 4 hours fishing, something like that. Did a bit of zig rigging, sun was out, so I thought I'd have a little go zigging on there, but didn't catch anything. Bumped into my mate Korda while I was there, so had a nice little chin wag with him, and then my mate Ollie, he came down as well. He just appeared behind us demanding tea, so we didn't catch anything between us, but we had a good laugh. You know, it was quite an enjoyable afternoon really. But it's Monday morning now, sort of the following week, and basically yesterday I drove to Cambridge to meet my mate Dave. Dave the Rave Robinson, he's desperate for a few Instagram followers, so if you hit him up, he's got loads of nice pics, and he'd appreciate your follow, I'm sure. He's watching, yeah, you don't like me saying that. But yeah, we got here yesterday. Quite windy, quite sunny when we got here. Dave's been banging on about you know, he thinks the zigs are going to be the one on here. So I've come down and give the zigs a go. Moved all around the lake, fished, you know, casting them about, constantly trying to find fish and catch one basically yesterday, but no avail. So as it got sort of towards the evening time, took the zigs off, dropped the rods onto the bottom and basically fished one down my right hand side, two across to the far margin. The margins are all sort of 15, 16 foot deep it seems here. It's a very deep lake, surrounded by reeds. I think the fish, from what Dave said, they like the edges. So yeah, like I say, put one down the right hand margin, two right across to the far side, really tight to the reeds. And the rods went out absolutely perfectly last night. First chuck, all three. You know, I couldn't have done a lot more really. Couple of handfuls of 10 millers over the top of them, and the old traps were set, as they say. And the wind last night was absolutely mental. It was, I don't know, it was well over 50-mile-an-hour gusts. It's still windy now, but last night was pretty savage. It was chucking down with rain as well. Me and Dave basically sat up till about 1 o'clock this morning. We drank about 1,000 cups of coffee. We thought we heard one possible fish, so it wasn't looking particularly good sort of going into the night, you know, going in when we went to bed. But at 4:30 this morning, my right hand rod down the edge was away, and I've got a little common in the sack. Don't quite know how big he is, look like an upper double, I guess. But yeah, you know, it's quite, I think it's quite a tricky little pit in the winter, a bit easier in the summer because they love a floater. But yeah, first night caught one, and I've got another night, possibly two to go. So hopefully between us we'll catch some more, sorry, because there's some absolute crackers in here. So I'm gonna have a cup of tea with Dave, probably have some breakfast, and make my way down the slippery old slope of death and get the fish out of the sack, because he's a right little perler. Oh mate, he's mega. Melted fins and all that. Oh, what a little carp this one is. Absolute beauty. Wind's nearly blowing him up my hands. It's like 65-mile-an-hour gusts they're saying at the minute. It's proper kicking off down here with the old wind. But, oh, but I am really pleased with this one. Water's absolutely freezing. The weather is wicked, although a little bit blowy. It's been really hard to get the rods back out this morning, but I've just done them and they're all out there sweet. So hopefully we'll catch another one just like this. Right, well the fish I had in the morning, oh sorry I'm shouting, I don't need to shout. The fish I had this morning! Right, so after the fish I had this morning, I didn't actually recast that rod. The wind was savage, it turned slightly blowing into the reed, so I didn't think I'd be able to do it in the dark, but I've recast it about 11 o'clock this morning. It's been out there a few hours, and it's just gone again. So I've got the fish in the net, I've already dealt with it, it's just sat in the net next to me. But it's a right hand rod, fish down the edge, like I say, exactly the same rod as before. And just like before, this fish is an absolute belt. He's got melted fins. Oh, he's the nuts. So we'll get him out in a second. There's a little bit of rain in the air at the minute, so I'm going to wait for that to clear, and then we'll have a look at him, because he's an absolute beast. Right, well how about that for a little belter? Look at his little tail, it's absolutely tiny. Got to love Dave for this. He said they were wicked fish in here, and he was certainly right. He ain't very big, but he's really cool. Look at his mouth. I think he's blind in this eye actually, this side. That's probably why I caught him. Right, time to get him back. Right, well, what a difference a day can make. It's finally stopped blowing. We've had sort of 40 to 60 mile an hour winds on average the whole time we've been here. It's been pretty mental, to be fair. But I guess late last night, the wind's obviously dropped. We went to bed about 1 o'clock last night, having heard no fish. It was still blowing strong, but it's calmed down now. It was flat calm when I got up this morning. It looks lovely, to be fair. I wanted to see the place without that big wind on it. It looked like the sea while we've been here, but it's a beautiful little lake. It looks lovely this morning, nice and flat calm. Had another fish last night. Basically, I was catching my right hand rod down the edge, so I squeezed 2 down there. I put one even tighter to the reeds than I had been fishing, and I put the other rod on the spot before, so I squeezed 2 down there, and it's actually the rod that was even tighter to the reeds that's gone absolutely ripped off. Rod pulled into the alarm, nearly off the rest, to be fair. Yeah, so it's a nice fish on one side, not so nice on the other. He's got a really gammy eye on one side, but the other side he's lovely, and I reckon he's, I don't know, it's a mirror of probably low 20, I reckon. So pleased to get a mirror, and a lovely way to end the session, really. We're going to sit it out here for a little bit longer. I've got most of my gear packed away, but I'm going to pack up. Once I've done that, got the gear in the car, I'll get the fish out, and then you can see old gammy eyes. Well, what a cool fish. Really wanted a mirror. Never caught a Cambridge carp, I think not a proper one until this session. So to have a couple of commons in a mirror, buzzing with that. Shame about his eye, absolutely disgusting that is. But I'm sure it ain't his fault. But lovely fish, nice and scaly. Hopefully a sign of things to come for this morning. Lovely stuff.